Support WrestleTalk!
It is payback predictions time. The sort of crushing weight of the amount of predictions we're going to have to do trundles on and begins to wear heavy on our shoulders. I'm Fakidor Laurie. I'm joined by Ollie Davis and Luke Owen to predict the second WWE pay-per-view of this week. So we are right at the start of Wrestle League Season 7. SummerSlam was the first show that counts towards the predictions, but Payback is the second. So you are not too far behind if you didn't manage to predict SummerSlam. And if you did, obviously, please get your predictions in for Payback using the form. If you want to take part in Wrestle League and compete against us in a predictions warfare, then all you got to do is become a pledge hammer on Patreon and you can get access to all of that. It's important because somebody has to topple me, the four-time champion of Wrestle League now.
Out of like, he won over half of them.
I think even if you join now, like, so if you didn't do SummerSlam, you're still going to do better than Adam did, who had a shocking SummerSlam and is way down the bottom of the table. So yeah, you're likely going to be ahead of him at the very least.
Adam got cocky and he was winging predictions around being like, I'm just going to go with what story takes me. And it's like WWE went with, what was safe, my boy, apart from one thing, which you never saw coming. So that's why we're going to start with the first match, because you never saw it coming. It's Roman Reigns, the big dog. Someone's got to put a bell on that big dog, and then you'll hear him coming at least, because Roman Reigns is going to be taking on The Fiend and Braun Strowman at Payback after jumping both of them after their Universal title match at SummerSlam. The Fiend won the belt at that. It feels like it's kind of inevitable that Roman Reigns is going to win the Universal title again. However, that is not my prediction. My prediction is that The Fiend is going to retain the Universal title because Braun Strowman is going to side with The Fiend.
Oh.
And the Oscar goes to
Ollie and Luke. Bray has been working on Braun for months now. So ever since Money in the Bank, they had that brilliant match with all the awesome storytelling and the Black Sheep mask making a comeback, and that twisted Braun Strowman into this kind of dark version, the evil train conductor that he is now. He obviously he had a little dunk in a pool as well in a swamp and came out with no hair, chemical waste and all that kind of stuff. It's terrible in America. But so now he's kind of this changed man, and I feel like this seems like the next inevitable bit. And maybe it's just a team up in the sense that they just side against Roman here because, one, they've got a load of history, the two teams, and Roman jumped both of them after the match. But I think this could be the beginning of The Fiend and Strowman, the Monster and The Fiend, as a team, working together at the top of SmackDown. And that's a way that also you can keep Roman looking strong, can't you? Because Roman Reigns can't come back and lose his first match unless, of course, it is a handicap match, essentially.
I do like it, and I really hope that you're right, but I'm going with my gut on this one, and I'm going to say Roman wins, LOL. And I think that report that came out yesterday was kind of on the money a little bit. The plan was for him to win the title at WrestleMania. And, so I think that they just want to put the belt on him and just, get those ratings back. He's the big dog. I think Roman is going to win.
Oh, it's such a bad decision. If they go for that, I get why they want to do it, because they couldn't get it at WrestleMania. That's when they wanted to do it. But it would backfire tremendously. Surely they can't be that sort of short-termy. I know I can hear myself when I'm talking out loud here, because it will just have a huge fan backlash against Roman Reigns when they've actually managed to make him probably the coolest he's looked in 4 or 5 years.
A bad dog that he is now. Bad dog.
Bray Wyatt's just got a spray can of water. So he's going to be, stop it. And
keep hitting him on the nose.
I'm going to go one better. I hadn't thought of a Wyatt family reunion, but it makes so much sense because Roman Reigns can't just feud with one person. That's unbelievable. You need 2 to 3 other people that he needs to feud with. So I'm gonna one up you, Laurie. I'm gonna say The Fiend wins, just because surely they can't just give him a week-long reign. That will be so damaging to him and backfire on Roman. So The Fiend retains. Strowman kind of helps him. And maybe Alexa Bliss comes in as well. That's our Wyatt family.
Let's have Baron Corbin in there as well. We'll have King Corbin. Shorty G. Let's do Sheamus and Cesaro. We can give you.
I was going to add to Ollie's prediction there, and I think that the Alexa Bliss thing is going to spin off into Braun and Bray continuing to feud throughout the summer into the autumn, so Roman can move on to the big challenge of Baron Corbin for the Blue Universal Championship. Ratings, mate. Smell the ratings.
Only good things can come from this no holds barred match. Okay, so next let's do the Women's Tag Team Championships, which is the Boss and Karen connection of Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Ollie, who you go for here?
You caught me by surprise there. So I previously thought Bayley and Banks losing the tag titles at Payback furthers that overall story they're telling of their slight dissension and eventual breakup. However, they're such a good act, and I don't want them to stop appearing on both Raw and SmackDown. And now who I see their challengers are, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, which is a really clunkily set up team on the episode of Raw. I think Nia and Shayna combust and Bayley and Banks retain.
It's a battle of combustion, though, isn't it? Surely, like both teams are utterly on the brink of falling apart at any moment, held together by tape as they are. Just one thing they haven't really done with the women's tag championships yet is do what they do with all the other tag championships, which is use them to further a singles feud. So I am leaning in the direction of Jax and Baszler, and I could just be chucking points down the toilet here. It also furthers the Banks and Bayley storyline, so it's like a two birds, one stone kind of thing. I think for that's payback, cashback, that is. So I'm going with Jackson Baszler.
I'm also going with Jackson Baszler on this one. I think it's the odd couple pairing. They don't get along, but they're going to be the champs. And yeah, I think we're going in that direction to further the Banks and Bayley split.
We've all picked different things now. We're 2 matches in. It's almost like a pay-per-view with only a week build is going to create some sporadic predictions.
Sorry, did you say a week build as in days of the weeks, or a week as in structurally unsound?
I can't wait for Saturday morning or Sunday morning when they just go, here are 6 other matches that are happening tonight. Yeah.
Check Twitter.
Twitter.
You're going to get a load of matches out before the pre-show.
Yeah. Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship.
So I think that Splashley gets the belt back here. Bobbles Lashley is your new United States champion, which I think is what they've been wanting to do. Like MVP was just a stepping stone to get to Splashley having the belt.
Yeah, I'm also going to go for Bobby Splashley, just for everything you've said. And because I can't pick MVP, which is who I would pick, sticking to my guns.
This is the one where we're going to all pick the same, because I'm also going to go with Bobby Lashley. I think if they choose Apollo to beat Lashley now, as well as having beaten MVP a couple of times on the trot, I don't know what's Shelton Benjamin will have to be the one to finally get the belt off him. Yeah, Lashley seems like the right choice. I think Lashley with the belt and the rest of the other 2 guys backing him up is a great little act to run on Raw.
There's also every chance that this is when we get Cedric or Ricochet joining the Hurt Business as part of the faction, because they were teasing that again on Raw. So that's got to be leading somewhere, right?
Yeah, of course it's got to be leading somewhere. Right, okay, so the last match we've got to talk about, this is the only other one announced, is bask in his glory, for he is limitless. Where's his music gone? He's in a weird top now and a skirt. It's Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. It's one of those things where it's really good news for Keith Lee to make his debut and immediately be in a pay-per-view match with Randy Orton, even if that pay-per-view is not a proper pay-per-view. Oh my lord. What will happen at Payback? Because what you want to happen is Keith Lee to win and beat Randy Orton, sort of cement himself as the next up-and-coming star for Raw. What's probably going to happen is he's going to come out as the Keith Experience and lose to Randy Orton.
I was massively excited about Keith Lee's debut, and he debuted in a segment with Randy Orton. He's getting a pay-per-view match against Randy Orton. The commentators put him over strong. He looked good. The match was more of an angle than a match. Randy was selling for Keith Lee. Yeah, and yes, they have changed his ring attire and his entrance music, I'm not a fan of that, sure, but I've got to take light and hope where I can. So I am going to say that Keith Lee wins on Sunday because Drew McIntyre hits Randy Orton behind the referee's back. And that furthers Orton versus McIntyre, and Keith Lee gets a huge win.
I am going to go with Randall Keith Orton. I think this is going to go one. It's going to go one of two ways for me. This is going one of two ways. Either Randy is going to win via Drew McIntyre, not so much interference, but Drew McIntyre distraction, or Drew is going to cause a DQ. Because I think the ultimate goal here is a triple threat for the title. Ooh. And I think he cut that promo on Raw where he was like, I don't want Drew getting in my business. I don't want him interfering in my matches. I think that is to set up the finish of the Payback match, which Randy is going to win. And that is going to spur Keith Lee to maybe attack Drew on Raw to set up whatever the next pay-per-view is. I think it's Clash of Champions in September. And then you do the triple threat at Clash of Champions.
Oh, I'm just going to go even more cynical and just say Randy wins clean. He wins clean. Your dreams are over. That's it. Hide your light under a large vest.
You don't need to do this. You can just say Randy wins. You don't. The predictions don't enforce.
I know. I'm just adding more to the story. I'm hoping that if I put it out there in the universe, it doesn't come to fruition. Because every time you ask WWE for something, you don't get it. So this is me, WWE, asking you to have Randy Orton beat Keith Lee clean at Payback, or at least have Drew interfere, costing Keith the match. Okay, that's there in the universe now. So go do what you do and f that up.
That word is banned from the channel. I made that happen on Sunday.
Sorry, jam that up. Well, that is all we have for our predictions. Let us know in the comments down below what your predictions are for the match. And if you want to predict more formally, please become a pledge hammer on Patreon and you can join Wrestle League. This is right at the start of the season, so there's never been a better time to get on board because you probably only missed SummerSlam if you haven't. And as we've said, you can still beat Andy because Andy is very bad. Adam is also off to a really bad start. So if you want to beat Mr. Fantasy Booking himself, then get involved because you can lord it over him forever. Yeah, also like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave us a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more awesome WrestleTalk things. I've been Fakidor, Laurie Blake. That's been Ollie Davis and Luke Owen. And those were our Payback predictions.